Welcome to the MNCPPC, Department of Parks and Recreation's virtual New Year, New You Nutrition Workshop Series. Get ready to experience a fun, interactive, and educational session with a certified nutritionist. In this session, you will discover ways to make healthier choices as you set your personal goals to start the new year off right. Be sure to share what you learned during this session with a friend or family member.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our New Year, New You virtual workshop nutrition series. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Yolanda Galloway, and I'm a Health and Wellness Coordinator with the Department of Parks and Recreation, Prince George's County. Before we get started, I just want to review for some of you and for some new folks joining us tonight, some of our housekeeping items we have. So for the first, I want to draw your attention to the mute button. We would ask that you keep your camera on mute, and this will help keep down any distractions that we would have throughout the program so that we can focus on what's being presented tonight. Next, I want to draw your attention to our camera icon, and this icon allows you to turn your camera off or on. You'll see the button there on the screen. And just remember that if your camera is on, we can see your screen, but we want to remember to keep distractions down tonight. So you have the option of turning your camera off or on. Next, I want to draw your attention to our chat box. And this is the cool icon where you'll be able to engage with us. You'll click the icon you see there on the screen, and then that will take you to what you see next, which brings you to the actual chat box. You'll type your response or your question into the area there, and you'll hit enter, and we'll be able to see your responses. And we ask that you use that chat box to engage with us. We like to have a good time on these virtual sessions. Next, I want to introduce the speaker for the evening, present to some and introduce to others, Ms. Leslie Jefferson. And Leslie is a certified nutrition specialist who completed her master's degree in nutrition and integrative health from the Maryland University of Integrative Health. Leslie enjoys motivating others to find their way to optimum health using a functional medicine, whole foods approach. As an in-store nutritionist with Giant Food, Leslie is available to provide lectures, classes, and one-on-one consultations. She is a native of the Washington metropolitan area and loves to line dance, travel, cook, exercise, and participate in organized activities. Welcome, Leslie. We'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here for New Year, New You. This is going to be a good time. So I'm going to do the fun part. And while I am doing that, just, a disclaimer, lots of information in these presentations and over these next 4 weeks. If you have signed up for the whole 4 week period, I'm going to try to put everything all together so that you are able to achieve your wellness goals. And that's what's important. So lots of little little pieces to the puzzle that we're going to talk about. And so I just want you to pull out what speaks most to you. And we're going to try to get you on track for this new year. I love the chat box. So feel free to throw things in the chat and an answer to some of the questions. So without further ado, let's just get started. And we're going to just, here's some of the program objectives. It's really about, healthy eating and what healthy eating means for your goals and what healthy eating means for your overall wellness. And I like to say that in a very broad sense because we have a lot of people on the call and everybody has different goals, and that's okay. So I'm going to be giving you some recommendations to help you meet your goals. And you have to pull out those that really speak to you and find a way to insert them into your lifestyle so that you can achieve your goals. So we'll be going over a variety of things over the next 4 weeks, for everything from eating out to staying motivated. How do you stay motivated? How are you mindful? Are you a mindful eater? Not a mindful eater? How do you make your plate? So all of those things come into play when we're talking about being healthy and achieving our goals. So with that, let's just jump right on into it. Because what is healthy? What do we think healthy is? Put it in the chat. I'm going to pull up my chat box here. What is healthy? What do we think that is? I see the chat box. Is it muted? I have a note. Do I need to do something? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, Leslie. I'll make sure to monitor it. I know you like to see it. Let me see if
Okay.
there's. Okay,
Ah,
it leans testing. You see it?
yep, I see it
Okay,
now.
great. All
Cool
right, we got
beans.
something. All right.
Cool. Yeah. So, all right. So I see someone is popping in the chat good blood pressure and cholesterol numbers. Yep. That is one way to judge healthy. All right. We each have a different perception of what that could look like for ourselves. And it's important to keep that in mind because we do receive lots of messages. Maintaining your eating, exercise. Yes, that is very important. Good nutrients. Ooh, fancy word, nutrients. I love it. So, because we do get a lot of messages. Has anybody ever been on a diet? Now I know you could, and you can also use the raise hand. There's a raise hand little icon up at the. Yep, you can raise your hand if you've been on a diet. And okay, let's I love it. Thank you, April. A diet, laughing, right? So, did the diet work? Did anybody have a diet that worked? No, somebody does not believe in a diet. That's fine. That's good. But has anybody ever been on a diet that worked? And what worked? Or did you have some success? Yes, but it has to be a lifestyle change. Love this, love this. Yes. And if you agree with any, someone says many, love you, Miss Geraldine. Many diets. Yeah. And if you love what people are saying in the chat, let them know. Throw it up there and there's your thumbs up or the heart. You could do that just by hovering over what people are writing. Whole 30. Yes, Whole 30. Okay, we got Weight Watchers, mindful eating. So there are many pieces to this. You're going to take this class, you're going to learn some things about food. And I think that's very important that you learn about food and then surround yourself in a way, in a additional programming to help support what works best for your lifestyle. So after you have the knowledge about food, no one can take that away from you. Now you can look at these programs and go, Weight Watchers, does that work for me? Do I want to buy food? Am I going to cook? Am I going to get things delivered? So finding ways that integrate your knowledge and then help you with your goals. So we're also going to do some goal setting or go over goal setting, and you're going to do that at home because there's lots of things out there to try to make us, feel like we should be healthy in a certain kind of way. So with that, there are things that have a health halo effect. And that goes back to back in the day, low fat, there's that. Now we have keto. So we have a whole bunch of different things that have a health halo around it, but they may not necessarily be the healthiest, the way to health for all of us. So please keep that in mind. So you want to choose that strategy, and that could go for that, Noom, right? You could do an online item. You can do the Whole 30. That's a whole concept. You can opt in for the My Plate, which is what we're going to talk about. So your strategy is the one that works best for you. The key is to be consistent with whatever strategy that is. So that means taking into consideration cost, time involved, All of that. Are you willing to do all of those things so that you can be successful? But I like for you to, no matter what you decide to do, choose one or two things to work on, master those one or two things, and then move on to the next. Because there's a lot of things involved with achieving your goals. And if you try to do all of them at once, I will never change this statement. If you try to do all of them at once, it just never works. So pick one or two things to work on, master those things, then move on to the next areas for your goals. Because the small changes will work. They take a long time, but we're going to learn about our bodies, and we're going to learn that our bodies need time. That's why the small changes work. And you have to do you. If you have a best friend and your best friend is doing, X activity, and then you try it and it doesn't work, that's okay. Do what works best for you, because you know yourself, you know your lifestyle, you know what things will work and what won't work as you try to insert these new behaviors into your lifestyle. All right. So why do we want to do this? If we want to do this for a variety of reasons, and somebody already mentioned the cholesterol, the blood pressure. Some people have pain. Arthritis is a big one. Some people have some discomfort and they want to be able to walk up the steps. So it's important to know, what we can resolve when we improve our health and we improve the way that we're eating. But there are lots of factors that come into play sometimes that may hinder our goals. And, we know, I'm sorry if there are any gentlemen on the call, but for women, we have a challenge with our weight sometimes. Well, a lot of times. And not just because we're women, but because of societal pressures that are placed upon us to look a certain way. I feel like I just froze. Did I freeze? Okay, now it looks like I'm back. So society has a certain way that we're supposed to look. Then we have family history. We have family behaviors. We have, eat everything that's on your plate. Don't leave anything on your plate. Um, are we eating because we are emotional eaters? Then we have the way that our culture impacts how we eat. And so there are many different things that we have to sometimes overcome when we're trying to make change. And change is hard. There's a saying, change is hard. You do it first. And see how it works for you, then I'll come in. But other behaviors are things like stress. If we feel stressed a lot, that can impact our sleep habits, that can impact the emotional eating, that could cause us not to want to be active. So there are so many different factors that we have to take into account. And our diet is so critical to helping us achieve wellness. There are lots of things that you can do, but one of the first things to look at is what are you eating? Because if you have any type of obesity, that is a huge risk factor for that high cholesterol, the high blood pressure, the diabetes. So we want to make sure that we, kind of X out the diabetes, the obesity, so that we no longer we are at a better place for the conditions that can contribute to ill health. So many times we look at BMI. You go to the doctor and they say, oh, BMI is one thing that you need to work on, But I also like to look at hip to waist ratio. I think that that's an important number to look at. And also, how do your pants fit? Looking at how your clothes are fitting, are you to gauge your progress instead of always jumping on the scale. That's one good way to kind of make yourself feel as though you are achieving your goals, especially if you have to go to the store and buy a new pair of pants. So remember, small changes, pick one or two things to work on. Do your best at those two things, be consistent, and then move on to the next thing. And you decide what you want to work on. There's no magic place to start. The magic is only inside here, inside of you, and where you think you can make the most impact on your own health. So those are all my disclaimers. And now we got 4 weeks to work on things and 4 weeks for you to learn some ways that you can have a positive impact on the new year for the new you. All right, so let's jump in. What are your goals? And what is your why? Why are your goals important to you? Your why is what you will have to hold on to no matter what, even when things are tough and you have to make choices about your health. Why are these things important to you? And that is personal for everybody. But that is what you have to look back to so that when you feel like you want to go off the rail on your goal, you have something to steer you back. So it could be a health diagnosis. It could be you have a wedding you want to attend and you want to get in that dress. You could just want to be able to walk up and down the steps in comfort. Whatever that is, that's what you need to really go back to. Will this help me? If I do this, will it help me get to my why? And if the answer is no, there you go. So we're going to look at making goals, setting goals so that you can achieve your ultimate goals, so that your why will always be there with you. So let's look at that. Your first assignment, and you will get some handouts at the end of this class to help you write down your goals. And we're going to use the SMART goal approach. A lot of us are working people and we do these types of things in our jobs. So I want you to handle your wellness like it's your job. Most of us do our assignments every day. We come in, we make a to-do list, or we have whatever we need to keep us organized at work. But we need to do the same thing for our bodies and our wellness. So SMART goals need to be very specific. You have to be able to measure them. They have to be attainable. And they have to be relevant, and you have to set a time to them. So most people say, I want to lose weight. Now, is that a SMART goal? What do we think? Is that a SMART goal in relevance to SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound? I want to lose weight. What do we think? Is that a SMART goal? Quiet out there. Yes, no. SMART goal. No. Right. It is not. It's very broad. Yep. It does not hit the SMART goal, but most of us want to lose weight, right? Most people want to lose weight. Nothing wrong with that statement, but when you want to put it out there as a SMART goal, it has to be very specific. I want to lose weight. Well, how much weight do you want to lose? I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay. But I want to lose 100 pounds may not be as attainable, right? It's kind of, maybe your overall goal is to lose 100 pounds, but let's put a smaller goal in there and say, I want to start by losing 10 pounds. That's very attainable. When do you want to lose it by? I want to lose that 10 pounds in the next 60 days. So that it's, you know yourself, right? So somebody else may say, I want to lose those 10 pounds in 12 weeks. So it just depends on where you are. So you want to make sure that your goals are very specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant, and time bound. Give yourself a time limit on those goals. And make it meaty enough so that it's relevant, right? You don't want to say I want to lose 1 pound in 60 days. Okay. You want to lose fat. You want to lose fat. Okay, I got you. I got you. It's coming. All right. So what should that look like? So in order for you to get to your goal, you want to lose weight, you want to lose that 10 pounds in 60 days. How are you going to start doing it? What are some of the ways you're going to start doing it? I want to eat in this goal, I want to eat more vegetables. Hint, hint. When? Now. I want to start now. How are you going to measure that? You're going to always have half plate vegetables on your plate. You're going to make some meal plans so that you always include them in every meal. You're going to buy them, right? What happens if you don't have any in the house, right? It's one of the biggest things. I didn't have any in the house. Don't forget to buy them, right? And then there are things that can hinder our goals, right? I have to eat out for my job, right? My job requires me to eat out a lot. So I can't get in the vegetables that I want. Okay, so let's resolve that. Okay, one of your hindrances is you have to eat out a lot. Always ask for double vegetables. Get a side salad. Fresh vegetables always go bad before I get to them. I hear that a lot too. So buy some frozen vegetables or maybe make more shopping trips. Buy less and do more shopping trips. Find whatever hinders you and get that out of the way so you don't have, I don't want to use the word excuse, but I'm going to just say it. So you don't have that excuse to use as a crutch. So example number 2 is a goal that you want to work out 2 times a week. Don't think that, if you're the person who never works out, all of a sudden, every day I'm going to go to the gym or I'm going to start working out at home. Be realistic. 2 times a week is probably good. And when will you achieve this? Okay, I'm going to really be in this groove by February 5th. I'm giving myself a month to get in the groove because you may have to take care of some things along the way, like order new sneakers, order new tennis shoes. If you're planning to walk outside, it's cold. You may need some thermofit, some warm gear. You may not have that because people say, oh, it's cold. I can't walk outside. Get some gear. Go for a walk. You might have to schedule it. What do you need to do to make yourself successful? Treat it like a job. If you're successful on your job, there's a reason for that. So you could be successful in your wellness planning also. And then there are reasons why you may not be able to be as active that you worry about. Oh, I have to deal with the kids. Oh, I have to deal with the family. Well, find activities that might include them if you want. Some people may not want to include their kids. Or, a gym right now, forget about costly. We have COVID. You don't want to go to the gym. What can you do? Use some free resources. If go on eBay, pick up an elliptical or, what do you need to do to plan so you can make this 2 times a week getting active, being active. So you're going to get a activity sheet at the end of class that will have a place for you to write down your stuff, not your why, your goals, and also people who can help you. Take your time and really fill out the forms and really think about it and be very honest with yourself about the goal that you're trying to achieve and how you're going to get there. Write it down. There's a place for your signature. All of those things have meaning. And when you do that, it makes it a little more real and you'll feel more attached to those items. Any questions on SMART goals and goal setting? All right. You're going to have to do some work. Where can I borrow an elliptical? I wish, right? I wish. I wish I had an elliptical for everybody. Have a friend that has some old workout equipment in their basement. Ask them if you could borrow it. If they don't use it, hey, maybe they have something that you could borrow. Your assignment number 2 is a food diary. Yes, I'm making you do it. I'm making you do it. Because you got to know what you're starting with and then where you want to go. You can see your progress. So, over the course of these 4 weeks, you should be keeping a food diary. You can get a little pamphlet, a little booklet. Let's see, I think I got one. Something like this. You want to keep a journal. You can, buy a fancy meal planning booklet. You could get a piece of white paper, write it down, tack it on your refrigerator, however you want to do it. There's some online things you could download. Do a food diary. Everything you eat and drink, especially this first week, because we're going to come back in the second week and we're really going to dive deep into all of that. And you're going to have to learn a lot of things about yourself. Food is very personal. So why you eat certain things, what you're eating, when you eat. So all of those things are very important so that you can learn more about yourself. So that is your assignment number 2. Assignment number 1, yep. And in the follow-up, there's going to be a link to a podcast, and it'll give you a bunch of apps if you want to use MyFitnessPal, if you want to just write it out, however you want to do it. I'm sure we have folks on here, be a variety of different ways that they keep their food journal. It's all up to you how you want to do it. But if you have an app like we have in the chat, MyFitnessPal, if you have an app that you use, or something that you've used in the past that works for you, put it in the chat so others can learn from you. All right. Yes, you have homework. Yay, homework. All right. So let's dive a little deeper into the goals. If weight loss is one of your goals, I have definitely stolen this from the DPP handbook because I like it and it's great. And you're going to get this chart also because most people, when they come on these, they want to, there's always some component of weight loss going along with their goals. So I find it to be very helpful. Remember that big goal. I want to lose 100 pounds, or I want to lose 50 pounds, or I want to lose 30 pounds. No matter what that is, it can feel daunting for whoever the person is. So I like to block off little chunks. I think this is a brilliant, and I'm not that great at math, so this chart is already done. So I appreciate it. It's weight loss by the numbers. Losing 5 to 7% of your body weight is very beneficial. So we may have a lofty goal of 50 pounds, but even if you just lose 5% of your body weight at this time, you are doing wonderful things for that. Those conditions that were brought up earlier, blood pressure, cholesterol, those types of things. So how does this chart work? This chart works by finding your current weight and you make the decision. How much weight do you want to lose? What is your commitment? 5%, 6%, or 7%? And then you find your weight on this chart. I'm going to go in because I'm really terrible at math. Some of us are great at math, some of us aren't. But we want to lose about, we weigh 176. So we choose 5%, and we look over at the 176, and 5% is 9 pounds. 9 pounds. So that would be our goal. So instead of the big 30 number, we're now down to like 9 pounds. It seems manageable. So then once we lose those 9 pounds, we could go in and we could subtract those 9 pounds. And now we're at 172. It's another 9 pounds, right? So now we're just looking at ways that we can kind of start making that number smaller and smaller. We lose another 9 pounds, and then we're in 8-pound range. So that's how we start, taking a bite out of that. We hit one goal, we feel successful, we feel accomplished, and we're ready to move to the next goal. One or two things at a time, small changes, small bites out of big goals. Loop Habit Tracker app. Lots of My Fitness Pal folks on here, so some good information if you're looking for an app to help you. Any questions on weight loss by the numbers? What do you think? Doable? Not doable? But you'll get this handout in your follow-up email. All right. Less intimidating, yes. And you may find, because remember, it's not all about weight. Someone said lose fat, right? It's not all about how much you weigh. You may find that after the second round, you're liking what you're seeing because you're doing so many wonderful things that your body is reacting to the changes that you're making. And you may find that you might not have to do as much as you need to because you're happy with where you are. All right. So I do work for Giant, so I have to throw in a little bit of, fun items. Here are some of our hand-picked items that we like to promote. We love anything around a salad kit. Yes, salads, but try not to do salads all the time, especially with weight loss. Make sure you have hot food. Try to have warm, hot food and not have salad all the time. Even though salad is great on the side of a wonderful hot meal. Snacking on grapes and adding avocado to your meals is a wonderful way to get quality fat and tasty sweetness, especially if you have a sweet tooth. All right, let's jump into this balanced eating portion. We utilize the My Plate as a way to encourage healthy eating. So having half your plate of some sort of produce, fruits and vegetables is very important. And we'll use this as going through this whole program. One of the goals is to encourage half plate produce. Fresh, frozen, canned, I don't care how you do it. I don't care what it is. There's no magic food. But your vegetables, your produce, things that are made of the earth are just that. That's where the magic is. And when looking at quarter plate grains, and especially for women, sometimes we tend to knock those out. And then all of a sudden we're wondering why we always have a sweet tooth, but we're not eating anything white, right? There's no rice, there's no pasta, but then we always have a sweet tooth. What's going on with that? So we want to include some form of grains. and then a quarter plate of protein. You can visualize that. You can look down at your plate. You can go, oh, I'm missing this, or oh, I've got too much of that. It's a great way to visualize how to create a plate. Now, dairy, I'm just gonna put a little X over here because I consider that part of the protein world. They just put that on there. And I'm not good at photoshopping things out. I think it's illegal if I do that. So I consider dairy part of the protein world for us adults. So when we look at the plate, there are certain things. We're talking about Nutrition 101. We talk about it in terms of macronutrients, and you may hear that a lot, macronutrients. So does anybody know the macronutrients? What are the macronutrients? Does anybody know? And I have a question in the chat. I do see it. Are white and wheat okay for grain? We're gonna jump on that in about 30 seconds, roughly. Does anybody know the macronutrients? Fats, proteins, and carbs. Thank you for that. Yes, macro is big. Right. Macro is big. Excellent. Excellent point. So inside our macronutrient groupings, we have other little subsets in there. So our macronutrients are very important to know. Proteins, talk about how they break down. They break down into amino acids, smaller. They're the small particles. Then we have fats. They break down into fatty acids. And then carbohydrates break down to glucose. Now, when we look at the plate, when we look at this plate, wait a minute, are we seeing all the macronutrients? What is this plate about? If we're talking about macronutrients, I don't see any carbs on the plate. So what are the carbs on the plate? Are carbs on this plate? Even on the plate? What do you think? You can tell me in the chat. Grains. Grains are carbs. Good one, good one. Any other carbs? Fruits and vegetables. Yes, fruits and vegetables are carbs. So, you hear a lot about plant-based eating and all of this and that. When we make a plate, 3/4 of our plate is plant-based. Grains are plants. Wheat is a plant, right? So 3/4 of our plate is already plant-based. You can take it even further by even adding a plant-based protein, or you can have animal protein. So our fruits and vegetables are carbs. They all break down to glucose. Grains break down to glucose. We just have different types of carbohydrates. Yep. We have soy and legumes, beans for our proteins, our plant-based proteins. They're still plants. So that means they have carbs. Keep that in mind. Carbs break down to glucose. So when we hear a lot about the glucose and grains and all of that, it's all of our diet that has to come into play. And we're going to look at all of that and help you when you do your meal planning, putting the balanced plate together so that it can meet your goals. So that's why it's important to learn about the food that's on your plate. So let's go over each, and then we're going to answer some of the questions that have come up in the chat. But I like also, this plate method, the diabetes plate method, it really showcases that half plate vegetables, quarter plate grains, and then a quarter plate protein. It really showcases that. And it uses water, yay, water as the beverage. So there's starchy items here. Starchy vegetables. Want whole grains and quality starchy vegetables. And leafy green vegetables as part of our half plate. Normally, we'll have more on this side, right? You have half our plate is either protein or half our plate is some sort of grain. And then we have a little scoop of broccoli down here in the corner. But we want to switch that up and go in for the half plate produce. And we don't want to mix starchy vegetables together. And we'll dive into this even more. So having a sweet potato and rice, corn and rice, corn as the vegetable, and then rice. Depends on your goals, right? If you're trying to lose weight, we want to make sure we're getting in all the time, every meal. Yes, breakfast, some sort of lean green. All right. So let's look at that. What does that look like? We talked about the starchy vegetables, which are things like peas and corn. We want those in our diet, but we don't want half our plate to be those things, especially when we're trying to make change. We're trying to make change in the body. And many times we have a lot of weight gain, we have a lot of fat, we have excess amount of glucose in the body. So glucose that is not used many times will turn to fat. And so we have to be mindful of that and try to keep those numbers under control. So that's why we want to go for leafy green vegetables. They break down into this wonderful, if you've taken one of my classes before, you know the answer. They break down into this wonderful component, which is a carbon-based item. It's called fiber. We need fiber in our diet. Anybody know how much fiber we need a day? Fiber is very important. Helps with elimination. It helps with hormones. Yeah, a lot. We need about 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. Most of us only get 7. Occasionally, if you have some oatmeal, you might get a little more in a day. But most of the time, people get like 7 grams of fiber a day or less. So you want a lot of fiber. You need it in your diet, and it helps your cells to turn over and be more efficient. That is why we eat, to support our cells. So we want them to be more efficient, and then that is the way your metabolism begins to rev up and get stronger and faster, but it takes time. All right. So we want to have some good quality items in our diet. I always talk about broccoli slaw. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, and I'll say it 15 times through the course of this program. Broccoli slaw is great. It's quick. It's easy. You could cook it. You could smoothie it. You could put it in soup, salads. You could do lots of things with it. And then fresh, frozen, or canned. Whatever your favorite vegetable is, eat it. Try to get it in every meal. All right. Whole grain. So this goes to that question about the rice. The rice is important. So we want to look for items that have the whole grain stamp included on them. But we want to watch our portion. Portion control is so important. It's one of those pieces. And next week, we'll learn more about the 5 P's. So portion is one of those things. So we want to make sure we're looking for the word whole in the item, whole grain stamp, because these whole grains have tons of fiber. And you'll find our friend beans in all of the categories. Beans are they're very good for you. They have lots of vitamins and minerals, very nutrient dense, and they fall into all the categories. So they are produce, vegetable. They're also a grain, And they also fall into the protein area. So you can have beans as that plant-based item. So going for a variety of proteins with your meal is very important. And you can do nuts. You can do seeds also, boiled eggs, very important. So quarter plate when you're creating your plate so that you feel full and satisfied with each meal. And I will point out, and snack. Someone in here put snacks in the chat. Treat your snacks the same way. Don't just run for the bag of pretzels and snack on that. You still want to make the plate. It's not too much food. It's just a smaller portion, but you want to make the plate. Nobody ever gained weight because they ate a carrot. So put the carrot or sliced apple or mini peppers with the proper portion of your favorite snack and then try to make the plate at all times, meals and snacks. All right, so fats are last up. They're very important. We want fats in our diet. They are extremely beneficial for those fatty acids, contribute to your mood, the outside of our nerve cells and our brains covered in fat. So we want to make sure we're supporting that with quality fats from tuna, from flaxseed, from walnuts. It also helps to protect our heart and our sleep quality. Sleep is very important for weight loss. Also, sleep is very important for your cholesterol. So remember, one or two things to work on. So if you find that you wake up a lot in the middle of the night and it's keeping you up, you can't get back to sleep, you have insomnia, those things can contribute to some of your health goals. All right, hydration. You gotta stay hydrated. Put in the chat if you have anything that you'd like to drink and the water beverages that you like to create, if you have any infused waters that you like to drink, because water is very important for weight loss and overall health. It's important for your mood. One thing you could do before you start snacking is to have a glass of water. That's an old school way of seeing, am I really hungry? Am I hungry or am I thirsty? Watch the sweetened beverages that you take in. I see in the chat lemon and cucumber. Oh, yummy. Lemon, lime, and ginger. That ginger in the water is fantastic. Yes, put all of those recipes in the chat and somebody can try your recipe. And maybe that is a new way. You could also use sparkling water, different teas, because sometimes we might be having frequent happy hours. Anybody having happy hours? Happy hour can impact your goals. Bubbly sparkling water, love it. There's no added sweeteners. No added sweeteners. So I like beverages that don't have extra sweetness because many times we're already fighting a sweet tooth. And even if it's 0 calories, it can encourage a sweet tooth. So try to make your beverages be purposeful in your beverage intake. All right. So watch the happy hours. Note here if this pertains to you, what the recommended amounts of beverage are, and try to, look at your pour. If you're a wine drinker and you like to have that glass of wine to wind down, look at your pour. Is it the 5 ounces, 6 ounces of wine? Pour it into a measuring cup and see how much you normally pour yourself. Even just by taking it down 2 ounces, it can make a big difference. Yep, sparkling waters are phenomenal. And then you can infuse them. You can also infuse them with tea. There's so many different types of tea, and it's important. And even those coffee drinks. Think about your coffee drinks. So see how there could be so many little pieces just by pulling one of those pieces out and changing them. You can make change to your goals. You don't have to change everything. Pick one or two things to work on. And here's some of those, changes that you can have. You can even go savory. You can have like a bone broth. You can have that as a, because, everything is cold, right? We're talking about drinks. We're usually talking about things that are cold. Matcha tea is a great way to, and try to have your tea, if you're going to do hot tea, even cold tea, try to have it unsweetened. That's really helpful for a sweet tooth. All right. So a fiber-filled day is not really hard to do. We have, simple things. If you want to have a little cereal with some plant-based milk, um, an apple, you could go for a meatless lunch with some beans and some broccoli. Um, you have a baked potato for dinner with a little salmon and some spinach salad. And then for dessert, you could have some yogurt. It doesn't necessarily have to be low fat. Put some strawberries in there and some almonds. Very simple day. Nothing out of the ordinary there. So keep that in mind. Let you marinate on that day. Because there's nothing strange there, right? You can insert your favorite this or your favorite that. Don't like salmon? It's okay. Put some chicken in there. You don't like chicken? Okay. Do you. But as you know, there's nothing that's outrageous in that day. So keep things simple. Many times, these fabulous claims of things, real food does a lot for the body. Very simple, very easy. You spice it the way you want to spice it. Yep. I see the sweet potato. That's my favorite. Sweet potato. Sweet potato is the muffin of the vegetable world. Muffin of the vegetable world, sweet potatoes. Yes, eat them. Good for you. High in fiber, vitamin A, tons of phytonutrients. All right. So you want to add flavor and you want to add fiber. So try new recipes, try new things. We have a turkey burger here with basil and garlic. Ooh, sounds good, right? We have our cauliflower made in a certain way, herb rich, herbs and spices. We're going to talk about those next week. Wonderful ways to, influence and enhance foods that are normally boring. And it doesn't have to be hard. Ways you could do your smoothies so that it's a quick and easy way that you can get that nutrition in. All right. So one thing I want you to do is, write down everything that you ate and drank yesterday, and then make another column and put one thing that you could do to improve it. And your homework will come through. You're going to start that food log. So this could start your food log, by writing down what you ate and drank yesterday and sharing one thing what can I do to improve? What do I want to work on? What's that thing I want to work on? And how can I insert it in there? How could I have inserted it in this day? What could I have done differently? So you want to do your food log also. So you want to start doing that so that next week, everybody should have food log. I'm going to bug you about it. And then complete that goal setting. Sit quietly with yourself. See if you can really think through some important things that are important to you and write them down. And the last question is, what is your why? It really should be the first question. I should probably fix that on the sheet, but hey, it is what it is. So you'll have that for next week, and we'll talk about that up front, and then we'll really dive into the meal planning. All right, that's my time. I want to be mindful of yours. You can always reach us at giantfood.com/nutrition. And then in the follow-up email, you'll get a link to some of the podcasts. If you want to listen to that, you want to listen to more fitness related things, or fitness related, or your app to help you with your meal planning and your food log. And my name is Leslie Jefferson, and thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, Leslie. Great points to start us out for the new year. Yes, so you all please be on the lookout for that follow-up email with the resources that Leslie spoke about. Before we let you go tonight, just want to remind you to complete the survey that you'll receive in the follow-up email for an opportunity to be entered into a drawing for a $25 gift card. And our program recording is available upon request. You can email wellness@pgparks.com to request that recording. And we would love for you to join us for our second workshop in our series for New Year, New You. To continue getting great information, you can join us next week, next Wednesday, January the 12th, again from 6 to 7 right here on Teams. So again, thank you, Leslie. And we will end briefly with a short video, and we'll let you go for the night. Thank you all.
Thank you for joining us for this virtual New Year, New You Nutrition Workshop Series. For more videos to help you make healthier choices, visit the Department of Parks and Recreation's online resource center at pgparks.com or the Health and Wellness Virtual Library at wellness.pgparks.com. Until next time, be healthy, be well.